Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to do a Wild About Winter peekaboo on this gorgeous ombre tumbler that I made. If you would like to learn how to make this beautiful ombre, then go back and find the video on how I made this ombre tumbler using Crystalac's Brite Tone. But for now, let's jump into the tutorial. I have found this simple snowflake SVG inside of Cricut Design Space. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to create an offset and then another offset on top of that offset so that we can get our overlays for our tumbler. So I'm going to size my offset. I think it naturally comes with 0.25 as an offset, but we're going to change that number down to 0.06. And there we have our offset. You'll see that it now creates two separate pieces. And now what I want to do is I'm going to select both of them and I'm going to go down and I'm going to slice those two. So now we have three pieces here. The black and the pink right there are exactly the same. So you can just go ahead and delete one of them. So now we are left with the outline and then our middle section for our peekaboo. Now you could just leave it like that and have the pink be your peekaboo and the offset that we just did be your overlay. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take you back in and I'm going to show you how to do another offset. So there is our original offset. We're going to go back in and do 0.06 again. So now you see we have three. Now we're going to select and slice both of these yet again. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because now that black area that the black SVG that you see, that is going to be the peekaboo part that we do, okay? And then we're gonna get rid of this extra piece there, which is that other gray piece. And now we have a triple, you'll see what we do here. We have that area that fits right inside of that, the outline. And then we have the pink area, which can be vinyl. So the black will now be our offset. The pink will be our vinyl overlay, and you'll see what it looks like when I go on later. So, and also later on, I decide not to use the blue overlay that you see here, the outline, because I also outline my cheetah spots that you will see. But doing it this way makes it so you have glitter going around your peekaboo section, and then you have the vinyl on top of that. So I hope that once you see this come together, that you'll understand what I'm showing you here. And you can also go up to a line, make sure that you center that if you want to attach these so that it cuts out at the same in the same area in Cricut Design Space when you go to cut it out. So now you can just select both of those and then go down and hit attach. So that way it cuts at the same time, or you could also hit weld depending on what you want to do. So now I'm going to put on the peekaboo portion of my decals. The Wild About Winter SVG that you see here is available on my website, laurenquigleycreations.com, under the digital files tab. And I'm putting the offset snowflakes, also the offset cheetah print. This cheetah print or leopard print you can find from Bare Trends. She made my very favorite leopard print SVG that you'll see that I'm going to be using here. So I'm just randomly putting around these snowflakes. I measured them out beforehand, but I'm just randomly putting around the tumbler. There's really no rhyme or reason. Now you'll set yourself up for success by putting the spots kind of in order as you want, and make sure that you don't put them too close together, because the leopard print SVG from Bare Trends also has an offset. So you'll see that I'll be going in there and adding those as well. And I sped this up because Applying these to the tumbler in real time, especially for me, is kind of time consuming because I like to go around and make sure that everything looks nice and that I'm putting everything kind of spaced evenly together. Now I have the whole tumbler nice and covered with my decals, and this ombre looked so pretty as is. I was kind of sad when I was going to go in and spray paint, but here we go. So now on the bottom portion where it's pink, I'm going to be going in with that with the bottom portion where it's pink, I'm going to be going in with light turquoise, the spray paint by Rustoleum. And then over top of the blue, I'll be going in with candy pink. Make sure that you spray the correct areas. It also could look really cool if you kept it with the pink on pink and the blue on blue, but I really wanted it to be different, to be opposite. When I spray paint, I go in with really quick, short bursts around the tumbler. Now you'll see here I'm going in with the pink. You do not want to get super close to the tumbler. I'm not sure if you can tell from this angle, but I'm holding it pretty far away and I'm doing my short bursts. This is where it counts, y'all. You do not want drip marks on this part of the tumbler because this is going to be shown, even though we're going to be removing our decals underneath, you'll be able to see those drip marks if you have any. So go slow, let it dry. If you need to go back and touch it up, you can totally go back and touch it up, but make sure to really let it dry and really shake and groove that spray paint that you see. I'm just laughing at myself as I'm doing this voiceover because I'm a bit ridiculous and dancing while I spray my spray paint. Now, after our spray paint is all nice and dried, probably about 30 minutes, I like to go in and try to remove my decals as soon as possible because remember, I'm using that 651 vinyl and it's a permanent vinyl. I don't want it to stay on there too long, but look at that ombre. Doesn't that look so pretty? So we're going to remove our decals super quickly. I like to remove them as soon as the spray paint is dry to the touch, about 30 minutes after my last spray paint. And we're going to take off those decals and then we're going to let the paint dry for about 24 to 48 hours before we go in with any coats of Brite tone. And that's because our spray paint is solvent based and Crystalac products are water based. So it's kind of like oil and water. You really want to make sure that you're setting up your tumbler for success and not going in with any coats of Brite tone until that spray paint is totally gassed off. So this vinyl that I'm using is a silver textured metallic, and I love the textured metallic vinyls. You can use Cricut, or if you want to support a wonderful small business, you can get this vinyl from the Vinyl People. And I have a code for you to save from them that I'll link in the description box below. Now, my original plan for all of these snowflakes was to put the outline offset around all of the snowflakes, but I ended up really liking just the way that they looked like this. So I didn't go in with those overlays, but I did put the outline offset on all of the leopard print. And a good trick here, make sure that when you apply your leopard spots, if you don't want to have to like do a puzzle or make it take super long to put all of these spots on, then try to keep them in order of how you put them on so that you can find where the overlays go, or else it's going to take you forever to look around the whole tumbler and find your spots. Now that that spray paint has off-gassed and it's been a minimum of 24 to 48 hours, I'm going to go in with my first coat of Brite tone over top of these decals. So I like to start at the bottom and I take thin beads of the Brite tone and I use my finger to just gently apply the Brite tone up the tumbler. We want to make sure that we're not using too thick of coats and that we're not rubbing it in too much because that will create streaking. So we don't want any streaks. We want to build up a nice, beautiful shine of Brite tone. Now I get asked this question a lot. How many coats of Brite tone does it take to finish a tumbler or to cover your decals? And that is totally going to to depend on how you're applying, how thick your coats are. So this is my second coat of Brite Tone, but I'm obviously going to need more than just 2 coats to cover up this textured vinyl, because the textured vinyl is thicker than your normal type of vinyl. So I'm not going to show all of the videos of me applying the Brite Tone because it gets very repetitive. So remember that it is a minimum 4-hour dry time in between your coats of Brite Tone. So I'm going to apply my coats until this vinyl is nice and covered and I'm not scared of scratching the vinyl when I go in with my first sand. When I do go in with my first sand, I am going to be using a 400 sanding pad from the Crystalac company. And if I hold this at certain angles, you can kind of see where it's raised over top of the vinyl, but it's lower, or the Brite Tone coats are lower on the spots where there is no vinyl. So we are going to do a nice level sand, and you're also going to make sure that your vinyl is covered enough that you're not going to scratch the vinyl. I can't stress that enough because I cannot give you a specific number of coats to sand after. You have to go based on feel, because my coats, my 3 to 4 coats may be different than your 3 to 4 coats. So really just go based on feel. If you can feel your vinyl through the Brite Tone, like the textured part, then don't sand it right away. Add another coat or 2 and then go in with your level sand, and you'll start to see that it will level itself out. And when you're level sanding, you'll see parts that are shiny and parts that are dull, and that is just the Brite Tone evening itself out. So the parts that are shiny are the lower parts, and the parts that are getting dull from the sanding are the parts that are higher up. So you can see that this tumbler is ready for another coat of Brite Tone. It has those shiny parts and those dull parts. It is nice and evened out, and we're ready to go in with some more coats of Brite Tone to finish this baby up. One of my favorite things about Brite Tone is after you sand your tumbler and you go in with another coat of Brite Tone, how it just reshines and just gets so pretty again. It kind of reminds me of when I used to make epoxy tumblers, but I get that same instant gratification where it's like dull, then all of a sudden super shiny and beautiful again. So after that final level sand, I will go in with approximately 3 to 4 more coats of Brite Tone just to build up that pretty shine and make sure that there are no imperfections. And if there are, you can just easily take your sanding pad, resand down a spot, and apply another coat of Brite Tone. I know that for me, sometimes when I'm on that last layer of Brite Tone, I'll get a random speck of dust or something in the air will come and fall down on the tumbler, and I'll have to put on another coat. And that happens to me more than often, especially if I have a lot of people in and out of the house and I don't have my studio blocked off. There's just always things floating through the air, I feel like. So that's one of the things that I love about Brite Tone, is that you can just easily just sand it down just a little bit and apply a little bit more, and it will make it nice and shiny again. And I really wanted to give a huge shout out to the babes in my creative community on Facebook that acts as my Patreon group. They are so wonderful. The community that we've built there has been truly inspiring, and what started as a passion project has turned into something so much more. I can't even begin to thank everybody in that group. And they got first access to this tutorial. It's been in there in the group for a little while, and I've already been seeing some of their beautiful pieces of work, and I'm getting tagged in things on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and I absolutely love that. When you recreate my pieces, it makes me so happy, especially when you tag and credit me as your inspiration. I just get a little jolt of joy through my heart, and it just makes me so happy. Please make sure to leave any comments or questions that you have down below, and I'll link all of my products and discount codes, links down in the description box below. So don't forget to check that out. And if you want to see all of the behind the scenes, then don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, or you can join my creative community on the first of every month.